Chris, stand by. I want to bring in Congresswoman Jackie Speier, a Democrat from California, from my hometown. And good morning to you, Congresswoman Speier.
Good morning, Richard.
Let's talk about both sides and whether they will come together. This is from our poll. 70% of Democrats and 59% of Republicans want you to compromise to make a deal. Are you willing to compromise, despite Ruth was just saying that we could just go over that cliff?
You bet I'm willing to compromise. We have an absolute responsibility to the American people and frankly to the globe, because this is going to be a huge crisis economically for the world if we go over this fiscal cliff. You know, it was Ben Bernanke who first coined the term, and he was talking about the economy going over a cliff if we did not act appropriately. So we absolutely have to do the right thing here. Now, having said that, to juxtapose Medicare and Social Security, which are programs in which people pay into all their lives, as being the area that we are going to cut, is not where I believe the cut should be taking place.
Well, Representative, on that note, according to Politico, the article we were talking about earlier, John Boehner saying he is willing to move on revenue if Democrats cut entitlements. You may have heard me say that. If John Boehner says okay about a deal, will you exchange a tax hike for the rich for raising the age on Medicare, as you were just alluding to, that issue of Medicare?
That's the one area that doesn't make any sense. I mean, why should we do something that's stupid? Raising the retirement age from 65 to 67 actually only nets $2 billion. And the other costs associated with it is, maybe it's closer to $5 billion, but the other costs associated with it in terms of having to subsidize Medicaid and the states take us into $11 billion in costs. So that doesn't make any sense. We can look at other ways of making Medicare work smartly. And one of the things we have to do is get rid of the fee-for-service concept. Fee-for-service is so old school. We are now in an environment where managed care has proven to be very successful. In California, as you know, 80% of Californians are in a managed care system.
Representative, aside from that, what else would you be willing to put on the table then that Republicans are asking for right now?
Well, I think we should look at the entire federal budget and look at ways in which we can cut areas of discretionary spending. I mean, no one's talking about defense, and yet that is a plump budget. We just found out from the Air Force that they scuttled one of their programs because it was not going to work, and it was already $1 billion that we had spent on a computer system. So there's lots of areas that we can look at, and I'm willing to do that.
All right, I want to look at another poll number that just came out from the NBC News Wall Street Journal. It shows that 56%, if we go over the cliff, will blame both Democrats and Republicans equally. And when you look at those numbers here right now, what would you say to a constituent who calls you and asks why you can't work together right now, when you see some of these realities here from our poll?
Well, you're right. I mean, I think in the end, if we don't fix this, that we're all going to be nailed. And I think we come here with the responsibility to find ways to compromise. And there are ways to compromise within the Medicare system without doing stupid things. And I think raising the retirement age is just stupid.
All right. Thank you so much today, Congresswoman Jackie Speier of California, for your time today. All right. Back to you, Chris. Speaking